Does God exist? Can the existence of God be scientifically proved? Where did the first life come from? Can we know whether God possesses mind power? Let's face this question. Is it rational to believe in God? Is God merely a myth, an invention of an ignorant, superstitious past? Many, today, assume this. I question God's existence with me, and I hope with the reader. I wanted to know. I wanted to be sure. I question the existence of God. Also, I question the opposing doctrine of evolution. I did not seek to disprove either. But I did research and carefully examine the evidences on both sides of this two-sided question. For this question is the very starting place for the acquisition of all knowledge. It is the foundation for understanding. In my in-depth research into this question, starting 46 years ago, I emptied my mind of prejudice. I sought the truth, whether it was what I wanted to believe or not. There are the two possibilities of origins, special creation by a creator, God, and the theory of evolution. It has become intellectually fashionable to accept the evolutionary doctrine. It has won popular acceptance in science and higher education. Even many professing Christian denominations have accepted it, if only passively. Yet, though in the minority, there still remain scientists, educators, and fundamentalist religious groups, as well as those in Judaism, who cling to belief in the existence of God. Don't assume, no. Many of these, however, especially among the more or less religious individuals, have merely assumed the existence of God. Why? Simply because they were taught it from childhood. It has been believed in the circles in which they have lived or associated. But few of these have proved it. Of course, on the other hand, perhaps a vast majority who accept evolution, at least passively, were simply swept into that acceptance in college or university. It has become the scholarly in thing. The opposite belief, special creation, has not been taught. They have probably not examined it. Too frequently proponents utilize the psychological ploy that it is a badge of scholarly status to accept evolution, and a stamp of ignorance or intellectual inferiority to doubt the hypothesis. All of which goes to show that people in general believe what they do, simply because they have been taught it or because it has been accepted in their particular social environment. People want to belong. They go along with their particular group. In general, they believe what they have taken carelessly for granted, without examination or proof. Of course, I know well, too, that people generally believe only what they are willing to accept. In most instances, people feel no compulsion to refuse what is accepted in their social or geographical environment. As one philosopher said, most dyed-in-the-wool evolutionists accept the theory because of their reluctance or unwillingness to believe in God. As the book professing to be the Word of God says, the carnal mind is enmity hostile against God, it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. Romans 8-7. All the facts, positive evidence, rational reasonings and proofs in the world will never induce such a one to accept that against which he is prejudiced. For prejudice is a barrier to the entrance of truth into any mind. I found proof. I was forced, on examination of the facts, to realize there is no proof for the theory of evolution. It is purely a theory, a belief, a faith, not based on proof. Though its zealous proponents push it onto the world as if it were proven fact. I found proof of the existence of the Creator, God. I also found proof that the book called the Holy Bible is, in fact, the very inspired revelation from that all-intelligent, all-knowing God of the vital, necessary, basic knowledge and instruction, without which man is unable to solve his problems, prevent his evils, or live in peace, happiness, universal prosperity and abundant well-being here on earth. Man is the crowning product of his Maker. The Bible is our Maker's instruction manual he sent along with his product. Which God? An atheist wrote me, "We have the history of many religions, and many gods. Which one of these gods do you claim for your God, and how do you know that he exists?" That's a fair question. It deserves an answer. Yes, my friends, I have a God. The gods of some nations have been carved by men's hands out of wood, stone, or other existing material. The gods of some religions and individuals have been carved out of human imaginations and faulty human reasonings. Some have worshipped the sun or other inanimate objects of nature. All these gods are merely the created, most of them formed and fashioned by man, therefore inferior to man. But he who did the creating, he who brought everything that exists into existence, including all else falsely called God, he who created all matter, force and energy, who created all natural laws and set them in motion, who created life and endowed some of it with intelligence, he is God. He is superior to all else that is called God. He, alone, is God. Creation is the proof of God. But during the past 2 centuries especially, there has developed among God-rejecting men in the Occidental world the mental disease of theophobia. 200 years ago it appeared under the popular catchphrases deism and rationalism. Then it masqueraded itself under the appealing name higher criticism. The pseudo-scholarship employed, as it advanced, such attractive titles as progress, development, and evolution. It has appealed to the intellectual vanity of a world groping in spiritual darkness in an era of widespread diffusion of knowledge. Creation without a creator? The theory of evolution provided the atheist an explanation of a creation without a creator. But this misguided rationalism failed utterly to account for the origins of things and of life. And today the more candid among geologists and biologists confess that they do not know how life could have evolved from inanimate matter, through the simple life forms to the complex, interdependent species we see about us, finally to man. Lamarck's theory of use and disuse, Darwin's natural selection, and other theories have now fallen by the wayside, and mutations explain only the presence of varieties less fit to survive. Amazing new knowledge of science. Now suppose we confine ourselves to facts. What, then, has science actually determined? Discovery and study of radioactivity during the past century has proved that there has been no past eternity of matter. Radioactivity is described as a process of disintegration. The atomic age is opening up new fields to explore. Soon after Madame Curie discovered the element radium, in 1898, it was discovered that radium, and the other radioactive elements as we know now, are continually giving off radiations. Has matter always existed? So notice carefully what this now disclosed fact of science means. Uranium is a radioactive element heavier than radium. It has an atomic weight of 238.5. In decomposing, it gives off a helium atom, weight 4, repeated 3 times, and then the substance left is radium, atomic weight about 226.4. Radium, then, is simply the end product of uranium after it has lost 3 helium atoms. Then the disintegration continues in radium. And the final product of this process of radioactive disintegration is the element lead. Now of course this process requires great periods of time. The calculated half-life of radium is 59 years, uranium much longer. I have seen it myself, in the darkroom of an X-ray laboratory. A tiny portion of radium was placed on a mirror at the far end of a hollow tube, and I looked into this tube through a magnifying glass at the other end. Under this magnification what I saw appeared as a large, vast, dark sky, with thousands of shooting stars falling toward me from all directions. Actually what I saw were the emanations of tiny particles being emitted by the radium,